Welcome to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast, hosted by Craig Phillips and Jeff Torrey. Visit us at fantasyfootballprophet.com. And now your hosts, Craig and Jeff.
Welcome everyone to the Fantasy Football Prophet Podcast. I'm Craig Phillips, joined as always by Jeff Torrey. And on today's show, we're going to be talking about, we got 5 players each that are either trending up on our draft boards and in our minds heading into as we get close to August, or players that are trending down. I think, did you come up with 3 up, 2 down, I think? Is that what, I think I did the same.
Correct.
Right. So we got 3 guys going up, 2 guys going down. I don't have a lot of guys. I mean, there's not a lot of news right now to have the guys going down yet on our minds. This is all kind of just how our minds are changing there's going to be drafts going on in 2 weeks, Jeff. 2 weeks. The relegation leagues, if you guys haven't, I'm getting invites sent out right now. Drafts are going to start as early as August 4th already on those. So that's going to be just a couple weeks away. So get ready for that. But make sure you guys go check us out also on Twitter at the FF Prophet or Instagram, Fantasy Football Prophet. Check out the website, fantasyfootballprophet.com. And you can always go to our YouTube page as well, youtube.com/fantasyfootballprophet. We'll be having more stuff out on YouTube as well as we get closer to the season. And also check, we're on Patreon as well. Go to our Patreon, patreon.com/fantasyfootballprophet. All right, let's jump into the list here. Not really a list. It's kind of, there's no 1 through 5 on this one. So we might jump around, but let's start off, I guess, and we have more trending. Let's go with trending up. Let's go with one player here that's trending up for you and why.
Sure. I'm going to start with the low-hanging fruit, if we shall. I had to put Tyreek Hill on this list, as much as I may hate the man. But all the news has been pretty good. They're thinking 4-game suspension at most. It might actually be less than that. I know that you actually picked him in the Scott Fish Bowl, correct?
I did, in early. I was kind of swinging for the fences this year in Scott Fish Bowl, but I think if you're going to do that, go that route, Tyreek Hill's the way to go.
Right. And right now he's wide receiver 47. So if he is only going to miss, say, 4 games, you're picking him outside, the top 30. That is great value. So as much as I don't want to pick him just because of, whatever reason, he has to be moving up boards just as a smart value add.
I didn't put him on the list, but yeah, that's very true. He is moving up boards, but I'm going to actually to tie this in, moving down my boards, Sammy Watkins.
Yeah,
that's one of my two moving down is Sammy Watkins. Yep. So that ties into, it's because of Tyreek Hill. And if Tyreek Hill is going to miss last game, the whole thing of Sammy Watkins that was going to be, he excited about is if he was the number 1 receiver on the Chiefs for the full season or for a majority of the season. Yeah, then he's interesting. But if Tyreek Hill's back, I can really see Sammy Watkins just being what he's kind of been the last couple of years and kind of just irritating you. And because of that, I'm moving him down. I don't find myself drafting him. Pretty much almost in a lot of situations, I don't anymore. I don't feel comfortable with it. I've always been a Sammy Watkins guy, but I'm not really right now. He's moving down for me.
Yeah, and I totally get that because wide receiver 25 currently, and on top of that, he can never stay healthy. So you're drafting him as a starter, but how much can you just assume he's going to be out 25% of the season? I don't know.
He has. I think he still has potential to be good. But
of course, of course he does. But how many years do you have to go through this before you just cut bait? And with obviously Tyreek coming back, it does lessen his chances. So 100% agree with you.
Yeah, he was early on in the year. He was almost top 20 for me. He's dropped down to 26th now, and I can't find myself drafting him in almost any situation I'm in. And I don't do it. I don't pull the trigger on it. I don't know. It's not. That's how I kind of try to base things once we finally get into this. If he's on the board and I don't want him, he needs to move down the ranks for me. So that's my first trending down, your first trending up. So I guess I'll go to one of my trending up players here, which you might be kind of surprised to see this name on my list. Dak Prescott.
Trending up?
Yeah.
I am surprised, but I'm not. It's more the fact that it's coming from you rather than...
I've never been a Dak Prescott guy, really. Probably still, I kind of hold some grudges on his rookie year when Tony Romo was still better and should have been playing. Never bought that. Never did. I never bought it. And I was a Tony Romo guy. But Dak, you can't really deny the fact that he's pretty consistent. I mean, if we took his final season finish, why are we ranking him so low? 6th his rookie year was really good, but then 11th and 10th the last 2 years when we think he wasn't as good, maybe. He's still right there. He's a QB1. He's a borderline QB1 at the very end there. But this is the first time, I mean, he had Dez, I guess. When he was 6, he had a fairly good Dez Bryant. Now, this really depends on Amari Cooper. It really does, and how good we think Amari Cooper could be with him now for a full year. I just think I've put him too low, and this isn't really like moving him way up the boards. I don't have him. He shouldn't be like 20th for me, maybe. And he's moving up because of that. He has moved up. I think, pull up my ranks here. He's up to 14th now, so he's not that high yet. But I'm still looking at it like I might move him up a little more.
I think that is about right. So you're almost just adjusting.
Yeah. Adjusting to maybe where he should have been the whole time, and I was kind of down on him for why I don't really know.
He's ranked, in Fantasy Pros, for example, he's ranked 15th QB. So and I think that is about correct.
Yeah. I do still have him. I actually have Kyler Murray one spot ahead of him, which I could have probably put Kyler Murray on this list, but I talked about him on the last episode we did. One of the last episodes we did talked about Kyler Murray, so I didn't put him on this, but he's up there too. But yeah, Dak he's consistent. He really is. He has good players around him. He's good offense. Really is good offensive line. Great running back who, if you want to buy the whole holdout thing or not, but yeah, I think it's a good team there, and he shouldn't be as low as I had him. So I moved him up my board a little bit. Not that exciting of a player here, but hey, I just needed to move him up.
Right. And I didn't have any quarterbacks on this list.
I actually have one more.
Do you? Mostly because even someone like Dak, who I don't believe should be ranked that low.
Yeah.
Look at the people, above him. We were talking about perhaps Kyler Murray. Okay, you can kind of buy into the hype. But we talked about Jared Goff before, where he was 7th last year, and, he's outside the top 10. He has the same weapons. He's young. He did a great job last year. Are you jumping over him? Are you jumping over Roethlisberger, who was, the second highest quarterback last year?
Well, he's not jumping over Jared Goff for me because Jared Goff is trending up.
Okay, well, there we go. Okay.
That's another one of my trending up.
So I do agree with you on that.
Okay, I'm running through these lists real quick here. This is going to be a 10-minute episode. Right. But Jared Goff, again, I look at it more, and it's something I'm trying to get away from. They don't excite me as players sometimes, like Dak doesn't, Jared Goff doesn't. But I really have to sit and look at the numbers and look at the talent around him, and how can he not be up the board, draft board? Why is he not going to be good? He finished 7th last year. He finished 12th the year before. He's clearly got better in only his 2nd and 3rd year. I mean, why isn't he going to be up there? He's up to 9th for me now. I have moved him up, which is a bit of a jump from where I had him. Yeah, so he's up to 9th. He passed Cam Newton. He passed Ben Roethlisberger for me. He has 3 receivers who everyone ranks top 25 pretty much, those 3. And he still has Todd Gurley, who is great. He is great. And even he's going to be good. I'll say, why can't he be good? And Gurley's a great running back, but he also catches the ball. Darrell Henderson will probably do that too if he was the guy in there and all. Goff should be up there, so he moved up to 9th for me.
Yeah, 100% agree with that one. I really do like Goff. So really, we can go anywhere with it.
Yes, I've already got 2 of my trending up done, and I have 1 of my trending down done. So we should go to you a little bit here.
Right. So let's go to the other low-hanging fruit that I put on the trending down. Just a realistic, look at it. If you're drafting very, very soon, you have to look at Melvin Gordon as a running back 6, and you have to say, okay.
Other trending down.
Okay, there we go. There we go. This is going to be really quick. But yeah, okay.
It's realistic, yes.
So he's holding out. You don't know what's going to happen. Usually I would say I would get done, but I thought that with Le'Veon too last year. Yeah. So Melvin is a wonderful, wonderful player, but there's a lot of good running backs, and I have no idea what's going to happen, so you have to downgrade him.
Yeah, and if it wasn't for Le'Veon Bell last year and actually him missing the entire season, this wouldn't be as much on my radar. I'd be like, he's going to play. Of course he's going to play. We all know he's going to play. But we said that all about Le'Veon Bell last year.
Right.
We all said it. We were still drafting him. People were drafting. I drafted him in a league. It was happening. And we just didn't buy it that it could happen. He could hold out like that. But this one, I can see it both ways. I can see how this could happen and why. If you're drafting right now, if you're drafting before the situation corrects itself, I don't see how you draft him in the first round. You can't do it. You absolutely can't draft him in the first round before this whole situation is cleared up, because it's Gordon. I don't know if you've seen any of those clips. Like, have you seen there was video of him talking last year about Le'Veon Bell, and it seems like he was completely agreeing with it, and he would do the same thing, kind of. And why wouldn't he? I think he would do it.
Yeah. And I do. I get why he's doing it. 100% I get it. But you're putting yourself in a very precarious position, especially for Melvin Gordon, because you're pretty much putting yourself in a position where you can't back down. And so if they don't give you anything, you almost have to sit out now, because otherwise you lose all power, right?
And I'm not positive that the Chargers are going to do anything about it.
I mean, maybe they're not going to give him the money he wants, but I would assume they would give him some sort of better deal.
You would think.
Who knows?
I don't know. Running backs in the NFL, man, it's not like he's been a good player, and we think he's been a really good player for fantasy. But if we try to put if you go look at his numbers and you look at what his overall production has been, just based on a NFL standpoint, if you're just looking at straight up yardage and all that stuff, if we would have looked at it when we were kids, I looked at yardage and that kind of stuff. I didn't care about his fans. If you look at this, he's only had one season over 1,000 yards. And that's always been the number for a running back. You always he's only had one season over 1,000. I mean, but
he's been a touchdown machine.
He has, and part of the reason he hasn't got over 1,000 is he missed 4 games last year. He missed 3 games in 2016. He missed 2 games in 2015. So he made he's had one full season. He's gotten 10. It's weird to say he's a touchdown machine after the whole thing is after his rookie year is this guy doesn't score touchdowns.
Right.
He had 0, but
he turned it around real quick.
10, 8, and 10. So he gets touchdowns. But he catches some balls. He's not, I mean, he's good. He catches a good amount, but there's other players. I mean, Zeke's just as good now, if not better. There's plenty of players that catch just as much as he does. They might think they can just plug anybody in, honestly.
Well, I mean, Pittsburgh sure did. And it worked.
I mean, if you really look at his numbers, first year 3.5 yards per carry. I mean, I guess I don't like yards per carry that much, but
his rookie year was more an anomaly, if anything else.
Second year 3.9, third year 3.9, and then last year's where he jumped to 5.1. He had the big jump.
5.1
was great, but
incredible.
the 3 years below 4. So you really look at this and and he's missed games. He's kind of been hurt. I mean, I don't know if I were the Chargers if I would put money towards him. I don't know if that is worth it. I'm not sure it is. And it's scary then if you're looking to draft him. Honestly, I would not. I don't think I'd put the money. I wouldn't give him the money. And it's nothing against Melvin Gordon. It's just the fact that running back position just is not worth spending on. And he's 26, going to be 27.
Mm-hmm.
That's sad to say that's old, and it's not really old, but it's not.
I mean, I have to believe that they're going to try to get some sort of deal done, and I don't really think that Melvin Gordon is expecting top-end money. I think he could probably go somewhere and get it. I think he might be. But if they offer him a health, I would hope that he would take it. But once again, I have no idea how it's going to go down, so there's no way that you can. I mean, right now he's running back number 6.
Yeah, he has to be lower than that. I don't think I've changed my ranks yet either, but so what that means, if he's 6, he's going ahead of David Johnson, Joe Mixon, Le'Veon Bell, those kind of guys.
James Conner, Chubb.
You have to pick all of them over him now. All of them have to be ahead of him, I think, until the situation is cleared, because those guys are not far enough off from Melvin Gordon to pick Melvin Gordon over them. It's not like you're picking Le'Veon Bell last year over certain guys.
And me being completely honest, I do not know how far he would have to fall for me to take him after what happened with Le'Veon.
It's scary. It's definitely it's a scary situation for me. I mean,
you're honestly talking. For me, he drops out of the top 15.
Yeah,
until this gets all situated,
and it very well might. But it's
and it could be done tomorrow for all we know.
Yep. Yeah, but hey, you don't want to really mess with it right now. So that's a good one for trending down. So we'll go another one of yours, because I've already got, that was my second trending down. I got one player left on my board here.
All right, let me do one of the trending upset. We've talked about before, but I really, really like now, and I'm going to give actually you a lot of credit, because one of our last podcasts, we talked about Latavius Murray.
Yep.
And right now he's going outside the top 30 of a running back. So he's 31st right now on Fantasy Pros. And the point that you made, and the point that really got me thinking, like, yeah, what if? And the people that you see in front of him, you have no idea. I mean, right now you're Darius Geis, Rashad Penny, Tevin Coleman, Lamar Miller, David Montgomery, and those are the five right before him, right? I don't think he is as good as Ingram, but if he has the same chance, he is going to be a top 30 back, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
He could be a top 20, and you're going to get him at a discount. So Latavius Murray is moving up my board, and he probably leapfrogs all five of those guys pretty quickly.
Yeah, he especially like Darius Geis had him. Darius Geis is risky as can be right now.
I mean, and he might be the one of the ones with more upside.
But,
I mean, Tevin Coleman, Rashad Penny, no idea, right? I mean,
none.
Best case scenario, he is in a crowded backfield
Where he
unless
maybe,
there's an injury where Chris Carson isn't going to carry the ball at all.
But Murray's in an offense that is proven to be able to sustain two big-time running backs in fantasy. And why would they change it up now? There's absolutely no reason they wouldn't. They would change anything up. You're just going to plug Murray into the Ingram role. Kamara's still going to get his. You're still going to throw the ball to Michael Thomas. Jared Cook will get some. There's Traquan Smith a little bit, but it's going to be the same offense, the same kind of setup. There's no reason to change it up. It's worked. And they've been really good. So that's one that I didn't put him on this list today, but the more I look at it, the more he is a very, very interesting pick later on where people had been overlooking him. Is he starting to move up a little bit though?
He might be, but that he hasn't moved up much from what I've seen.
I got to move him up my ranks. I got to update these.
Just to give everyone an idea as well. So last year, Ingram, even though he missed 4 games because of the suspension, he had 138 rushes, right? The year before that, 230. The year before that, 205. So I would think it is pretty safe to say that if you give Latavius Murray 180 carries, and he'll probably get more, I mean, look what he was able to do with it in Minnesota, which I think the Saints have a better situation. Last year, he had 140 carries. He almost 578 yards for 6 touchdowns. The year before that, he got over 200 carries, finally 216, 842 with 8 touchdowns.
Yeah.
I mean, that alone just tells you, and let me just double check here. And 2 years ago, when he got 200 carries, he was the 20th best back.
I have Murray right now at 27. He's my 27th running back right now.
I think that is pretty fair. I think that is where you could put him and feel pretty good about it. If you want to reach and get him a couple spots higher, if you really believe in him, that's fine. If you want to let him drop a few because you're not sure about it, also good. So I think that's about
the guys I have right ahead of him are Josh Jacobs, Phillip Lindsay, David Montgomery, Kenyon Drake, which those guys should be the number one backs in their teams. So
right. I have a harder time with David Montgomery, but that's because of the question mark. We have no idea. But I think that is good company.
But I did put him ahead of Tevin Coleman because who knows? Lamar Miller, Tariq Cohen, LaShawn McCoy, even Darius Geis. I have Geis and Peterson back to back. I have Peterson higher than most too. But yeah, I kind of like that pick because if you can get him as maybe your 4th running back, that's a good 4th running back. I think it might work out for you. So it's a good one for trending up. So we should go to another one of yours here.
Yeah, and let's go to my last trending down, which I'll be honest, I don't feel good about this. The only reason I put him on here is because I keep passing on him. And I noticed that I'm not the only one because I wanted to give, kind of really look into it and say, why do I not feel good about this? How's everyone else treating him? And I'm talking about Tyler Lockett. He should be the number 1 on a Seattle offense that still has to throw it to someone. But right now, even though he's ranked 19th as far as a wide receiver, he's being drafted averagely at 23. So obviously 4 spots lower. And every time I get to that place, I just don't want anything to do with him. So I don't know why. To be honest, I don't know why. Everything is pointing in the right direction, but every time I get to him, I look at him and I think just danger signs. I see red and I move on, and then he'll drop and eventually he'll go before I'm ready to get him. but I had to bring him up. I had to address it, and I had to get your opinion on Tyler Lockett.
Well, see, I feel very similar about him. When I'm in a draft, I don't want to pick him. And I've ranked him around the 20th mark. I don't know exactly right now. But
are you drafting him at 20, though?
No.
Okay.
That's where I'm going to have to rethink this. And why it is for me, I think it is. He only had 57 catches. I know if we translate, if he becomes the real number one target, 100%, the catches should go up, you would think, right? But he only had 70 targets. It just became he just became a bigger play guy. So last year, there really wasn't a difference in targets for him. So his rookie, these are targets over the 4 years: 69, 66, 71, then 70 last year. It's just a lot of big plays, more touchdowns. Maybe that's going to keep happening. Maybe that's how they're going to use him completely. Or is that a 1 year outlier where he just got a few more big plays? That's a big jump in yards per catch.
And it's worrisome too, because yards per target almost doubled.
Yeah.
And on top of that, his catch percentage, which I'm not a huge fan of this stat, but at the same time, you have to look at it, and it stayed relatively the same, right? It was like 74, 62, 63 when he started to get a few more targets, and then 81 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So if his targets do not go up, it's very unlikely that he'd be able to sustain that big playability and to have that catch percentage, which obviously would limit his upside. And on top of that, he had 10 touchdowns. Like, it just looks like everything should fall, even though he should be the number one.
And that's where it's just, we could look at, sometimes we'd look at those stats if maybe we like the player and be like, well, see, look at this, look how much he increased this yards per catch. Look how much better he's going to be. So maybe we're just cherry picking and we're just like, this is why it's an outlier. You can do that with stats all day, but I don't feel comfortable with it. Because I don't feel comfortable with it, I don't draft him. Yeah, maybe this was the beginning of a star player being born here. Maybe.
Yeah. I
don't feel comfortable enough to draft him. I'll let somebody else do it.
Exactly. I'm okay missing out on him.
Yeah, I am too.
And so I had to bring him up because I think he is going to be a highly debated player because of everything going on.
I'm more excited about David Moore on the same team. Not like going to rank him that way, but I'm more excited in relative terms as to where he's getting drafted. I like the potential with David Moore because he actually had a bigger yards per catch of 17.1 last year, and he had 5 touchdowns there's only 26 catches, and he had 5 touchdowns. So he's an interesting one for me. He only had 17 less targets than Tyler Lockett. So if he starts converting those a little bit, he's interesting to me. I'm more interested in him based on where he's going.
And this is why I worry too, right? Because we haven't downgraded Russell Wilson that much.
No, I just feel like he's going to get it done somehow.
I still feel safe with him, which doesn't make any sense. And that I have to bring it up because if I don't feel good about Lockett, those targets, and I do feel good about Russell, those targets have to go somewhere else.
Maybe so David Moore?
Who am I missing? Like one of these I'm incorrect about. I'm either missing a sleeper, or I'm wrong on Russell, or I'm wrong on Tyler Lockett. One of them has to happen. So
David Moore becomes a star.
Maybe.
It's a little much.
Tight end. I don't know.
DK
Metcalf.
Yeah.
I mean, is he really ready?
No, they got Jaron Brown yet. Remember Jaron Brown? I mean, he's still there.
Maybe they just spread the ball around to 5 different guys and no one's a true number one. I mean, that's more likely in my head.
Yeah, that's probably more likely.
Anyway, that's why Lockett is starting to slip in mine.
Yeah, I feel the same way about him. It's just just don't feel comfortable. And then I don't feel comfortable with a guy in a draft. I don't draft him. So he's just one of those stay away guys, and he moves down. So that's how it works. Early in the year when you're actually making the initial ranks, he's up there. And you get to a draft and you realize, nope, I have this too high. Can't do it. All right. So we got 2 of your up, 2 down, 2 of mine, 2 down. So I'll go to my final trending up player, and it's going to be Christian Kirk. He has really moved up my board.
Yeah, I love Kirk. I have no issue with that either.
This ties into me liking Kyler Murray more. I like the more I think about it, the more I look into the offense again, and just Cliff Kingsbury. I think this offense is going to be really good. I think they have the talent to be really good. I don't know if the team overall is going to be really good. Who knows? But I think the offenses, they're going to play. They're going to have a lot of plays. They're going to try to just do all kinds of stuff. And I think Christian Kirk's going to become the number one receiver on this team for what they want to do. And he had a very good rookie season. He really did. Well, I'm going to pull up his numbers here again. So his rookie year, 43 catches for 590 is a very solid rookie season. It really is. We shouldn't expect, again, we've talked about this all the time. Stop expecting Odell Beckham numbers or, that kind of thing. That's just such an outlier. Christian Kirk had a very, very solid season. And Larry Fitzgerald, again, we've been saying this every year. He's just, it's done, right? Right?
No, I don't know.
Can you not say it? You can't say that?
I don't think you... This is why. I think you're absolutely right on Kirk. And on top of that, he only had 12 games that he played.
Yeah.
Which is pretty incredible on the worst passing offense that there was in the NFL last year. I mean, they really did not do I mean, it was rough. You have a rookie. That team was kind of in shambles, whatever. The fact that he was able to do that in 12 games on a bad offense is pretty impressive. But to Fitzgerald's point, if I look at him, he is an interesting, I think, late pickup, perhaps, if you're correct about the Cardinals, if you are correct about the shiny new quarterback, that is helming the team, because last year was a complete fall off for him, right? So he only had 69 receptions last year. The year before that, 109. The year before that, 107. The year before that, 109. 734 yards, 6 touchdowns, which really doesn't change a whole lot from year to year for him in the past few. But if this offense gets back on track, what's stopping him from getting 80, 90 catches, even if he is decreasing a little bit? All of a sudden, he's a wide receiver 3, and you can get him for nothing.
And we've seen this before with him. We already said he was done. What? How many years ago? 4 years ago? 5?
2014.
Right? Yeah. When he did the 63 for 784.
Yep.
We thought, he's done. It is over. And then look what he turned around and did for 3 more seasons. We were writing him off after last year, but maybe that just is the quarterback situation. Look what happens when you don't have, don't have Carson Palmer throwing you the ball or whoever else,
And I don't know how you're going to use him, but you have to believe that throwing to Larry Fitzgerald is pretty easy for a rookie, because even if he doesn't have the speed, which is the lovely thing about him, is he's such a good wide receiver that you can just turn him into a possession guy. He can coach up the younger wide receivers. He can be a presence on the field. I still think that he can get it done if Kyler Murray is the real deal. That's a big what if.
Yep.
But I still think he's an interesting one, but I'm not ready to say, hey, grab him.
I think it's going to be, we'll see big things from Kirk. He's up to 30th right now for me. He's my 30th receiver now.
I love it. And I picked him up in Scott Fishbowl because I do expect bigger things.
I'm a big fan of him there. All right, so we'll go to your final. What is this? Where are we at? Trending up, right?
Final, yep. And it is trending up, and it is another guy that we have talked about on the podcast before. I brought him up, I think, 2 episodes ago, and that is going to be Kenyan Drake.
Yeah.
So I threw him on here because at first I did downgrade him just for no really good reason, because I don't like the Dolphins for the most part.
Not a very good team.
But after looking at his numbers, after hearing that, Miami is going to change the way they do things a little bit, after getting a better quarterback, me throwing out a little faith that they're going to use him more, you have to believe that if you give this guy enough touches, he is going to be productive. His yards per carry every single year has been very good. 5.4, even though he only had 33 rushes. 133 rushes, 4.8, and then last year 4.5. So with only 120 rushes once again.
So here's some good Kenyan Drake numbers. Again, this might be an Adam Gase thing where they just didn't want to give him the ball as much for some reason. But in 2018, he averaged the 6th most fantasy points per touch among running backs. So per touch, he was 6th. So if he gets a real workload, he's going to be up there, right?
You would have, and on top of that, how many touches did he actually have?
Not many.
Less than 200. You gotta be effing kidding me. So one of the best offensive weapons you have, and you give him less than 200 touches in a year. He had, 173, and you get about 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns between receiving and rushing. So even though everything was stacked against him, the guy still ended up being the 21st best running back in the NFL fantasy-wise. And we don't talk about him. So after looking at all that, I had to give him the respect he was due, and he started skyrocketing up my chart. First, to make up for the mistake of overlooking him, and then secondly, because I just love his upside.
And here's another good, he's a good runner, but he also can catch the ball. Because here is this is the top players. It's funny because I found this article here. I just typed Kenyon Drake, and this article came out 15 hours ago, and it's titled "Why Kenyon Drake Should Be on Your Fantasy Team."
Oh, boom.
So it's great. So he was he was the sixth best. He had the sixth highest quarterback rating when targeted as a running back. So if there was the only players ahead of him that had a better, the quarterbacks had a better rating when they're throwing the ball to a running back. Kareem Hunt, okay. Jalen Samuels, okay. The guy was a tight end too.
Right.
Tevin Coleman, who we kind of think of him that. Matt Breida, okay, and Damian Williams. Got all guys you would expect to be there. Those guys, though, those 5 players ahead of him,
two of them were being thrown to by Pat Mahomes.
Exactly.
On a record-breaking
Two of them were getting thrown by Pat Mahomes. One of them was a converted tight end, right? It's like...
And one was getting thrown to by Tannehill.
Yeah.
There is an outlier, and it is Kenyon Drake.
And those guys ahead of him, none of them had more than 44 targets. So it's easier to have a better rating on less targets. He had 73, that's harder to, sustain a number. That's pretty solid. So he was better than on catching, on quarterback rating, better than Christian McCaffrey, Melvin Gordon, those kind of guys. So it's a very, that's produced on a, not a team that should have been known for that. Like the other ones we mentioned, even then, Matt Breida was with Kyle Shanahan offense, which is always known for throwing the ball to running backs a bit. And the other one, Tevin Coleman, was on the Falcons, who Shanahan came from. They just still use some of those concepts. So I like this one a lot. I think Kenyon Drake he's a good value because you don't have to. He's not exciting. He's one of those players when he's on the board, a lot of people just don't really think about him. Where is he though? Where was he current rank right now?
He was going, I have it written down, 25th right now at running back.
Okay, so I had him a couple spots ahead. I think.
Also that's Fantasy Pros. So I do think he's a little more appropriately placed on that one compared to an ESPN, if I'm correct, but maybe he moved up on that one.
Yeah, so he's 25th, and he's going ADP is 25th, so he's right there. I have him 23rd right now, which he's one spot for me below Sony Michel, who I almost put Sony Michel on my down list. I worry a bit just because it's the Patriots. They still worry me. And Damian Harris being there.
And he's not going to catch a whole lot either.
Drake, though, I like Drake. If they give him the real workload, guy's been a good player. It's just we are turned off from people who don't like it after last year because he didn't get the targets. He didn't get the catches, didn't get the carries, and we expected big things, and he actually went down in touches from the year before, basically. So, yeah, I like Kenyon Drake. All right, that's it. That's all of our players. Not a bad list. Like some guys we hadn't talked about very much, but I think, the Kenyon Drake, man, I'm just really excited about Kenyon Drake for some reason now. I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, there really are a few. Besides for the low-hanging fruit of Melvin Gordon, Tyreek Hill, because of, the news that came out, I like the ones we talked about. There's a few more of just talking it out, but Latavius Murray and Kenyon Drake are legitimate for me, moving up for no other reason than I like their value and I like what they're able to bring to the team. And then on your side, which one?
Christian Kirk. I really like Kirk. I think that's a solid one. Even in the quarterbacks, if you can get him, whatever. But Christian Kirk's my favorite pick up there.
Yeah, I think that's a great one.
All right. That will do it for today's episode. We'll talk to you guys next time.